And recently we added something that we call field assessment. This means the health teams go out and check on some of the areas where some of the suspected people have been passing, like these truck drivers. If they have been stopping in Kiriandongo, in this place or that place, you go there and check on the people that they could have interacted with. So all the results are here, day by day, and I don't want to have to go through them all. And that is for almost 2 months, almost 58 days. Therefore, by the 16th of May, there are figures of yesterday, 17th and 18th, but I did not include them in this speech. So, by the 16th of May, yesterday, but the other day, we had tested 87,832 people. Among them, we had 19,500 something returnees, those who came from outside, their contacts, and members of the population that got worried and wanted to check how they are. Then we also tested 52,000 drivers. And then the random field assessment, just going in the population and checking, they tested 16,000 something people. The total of people tested up to the 16th of May, a few days ago, was 87,832. 87,832. Out of all those, only 227 people have been found to be positive, to have the virus. And as I said, as you can see, we have tested a total of 87,832 people, and only 227 are positive. The rest were clean, did not have the virus. Out of the total number of the positive people, of 227, the Ugandans are 98, or were 98 by the 16th of May, just 3 days ago. Were 98, comprised of 54 returnees, the people they had interacted with, and the Ugandans that volunteered for testing because they wanted to be sure. So all those, plus 44 truck drivers, Ugandan truck drivers. So all those together are 98. Out of the total number of the 227 positive people, the truck drivers, the drivers of these lorries and trailers, are 166. Among the drivers, The Ugandans are 44. The other drivers are 72 from Kenya, 37 from Tanzania, 3 from Burundi, 7 from Eritrea, 1 from Rwanda, 1 from South Sudan, and 1 whose nationality could not be established as his form was not properly filled. He is still being tracked, this one here. Out of the total number of the positive cases of 227, the Ugandans that were returning from Dubai, Europe, USA, China, etc. are 50. The really locally based people that were infected are therefore only 9. The people who are not returnees, who are not, are 9. Moreover, out of the 227 that have been infected, 63 have been healed and discharged from the hospitals. I therefore congratulate our health workers and doctors who have detected these cases and treated them. I also congratulate our armed forces for ensuring the observance of the restrictions. I also congratulate the LOCs and the people for their vigilance. I cannot forget to congratulate the task forces that have been involved in managing this effort. Therefore, the curve of Uganda as of today, the curve when you plot on that graph, what we used to call graph in the schools, when you plot on the horizontal axis, you put the days, and on the vertical, you put the numbers, then you make a graph. That curve is like this. I hope they will show it to you. Those people who know how to do things will put it on your TV so that you can see it properly. These are curves, graphs of many countries in the world. And Uganda is right on the bottom. It's actually the lowest. It's actually the lowest. The one which is coming a bit near is Madagascar. That is a graph for all the 227 up to the other 3 days ago, which means Ugandans and non-Ugandans. So this graph is capturing all, assuming they were all Ugandans, assuming they were our responsibility. But if you remove the non-Ugandans, then the graph changes. It is slightly different. It is flatter. It is flatter. Thus, therefore, the strategy of lockdown, temuva mu nyumba, mutashohora, mutaturuka okuruga mu maju. That strategy has helped us to have a rough idea. First of all, it has saved us. It has saved us from getting big numbers. This 227 is of people who just get infected is just nothing. In some of the other countries, 800, 700 people would be dying per day. Dying, not being sick, not being infected. 700, 800, sometimes, I think in some places it even reached 1,000 in some countries, per day, dying. Now here you are saying that after 2 months, you have got only 227 people who have been infected, 63 have been healed, nobody has died. I think you people, you don't know how to pray. You don't know how to pray, you better learn how to pray properly. Or if you don't know how to pray, I will have to teach you one of these days. Because I used to be head of the Scripture Union. So the lockdown has really helped us to minimize the infection. But secondly, it has helped us to have a rough idea as to where the enemy is mainly coming from, but also to prepare better. Prepare better. Where has the enemy been coming from? It seems there are 3 answers to this. One, initially the enemy was coming from Dubai, Europe, the USA, etc. We blocked that enemy by closing the airport and by suspending all passenger travel except for emergencies and humanitarian flights, and closing our land and water borders for all passengers, whether they come by vehicle, they come by boats, or they come as pedestrians, just walking on foot. We closed. Our powerful resistance councils system helped in guarding all the villages from infiltrations from the neighboring countries. The few that sneaked in were promptly discovered and handed over to the health authorities. Remember the 2 Burundi and the irresponsible border ally of theirs in Rakai, and the student from Bukoba in Tanzania and his family again in Rakai. They were promptly identified by the LOCs and handed to the health authorities. And we found that they were positive. They are part of the 227. Those 4. The 2 Burundi, their border ally, and the student from Tanzania. So, the route, the enemy route number one was this one, of people who are coming from outside. Secondly, the enemy is now coming from the cargo drivers, mainly lorry drivers. As you heard, out of the total positive figures of 227 to date, detected in Uganda, 166 are lorry drivers. This is 73% of all the positive cases. I know how much the Ugandans are hostile to the policy of allowing the lorry drivers to continue to enter and leave Uganda. Many Ugandans wanted to block out and in all the lorry drivers. However, as I told you, that would have been suicidal and more self-hurting, okwekuba endobo, okwetera endobo, than curative. War is not fought only by anger or busungu, but also by wisdom, amagezi. When we allowed the cargo drivers to continue coming, their problems to us notwithstanding, we knew it was a calculated but also a manageable risk. Why? First of all, we need that cargo for our survival and even for our prosperity. Because we don't only need to survive, we need to be prosperous. We need to survive, but also to be prosperous. In spite of this problem. Much of the inbound and outbound cargo is ours. When people are carrying, they forget this. We are not carrying other people's cargo, it is ours, it is our cargo. Omsogakova, emigugu jeife. The migugu is ours. This is our cargo. It is our coffee going to Mombasa. This is the one going. 75% of the trucks which come through Uganda are going for Uganda. This is according to Katumba. 75% of the cargo is for Uganda. It is only 25% which is for the other inland countries, for South Sudan, for Congo, for Rwanda, for Burundi. But 75% of the cargo is ours. And what is this cargo comprised of? It's our coffee. It is our tea from Kanungu, from Fort Pocho, from Zombo, from Mitiana, from Buheru. This is what we are talking about. This is the cargo we are talking about. From Bugambe, in Hoima. This is the tea. It is our cement going to all over these places. It is our mtaimbwa, steel bars. It is our sugar, sukari ife. It is our maize. It is our milk products going to external markets. All these are going to external markets. It is also our machinery, because we are buying machinery. Like now, these masks which these people are putting on, they are not being made here. But the factories which made them, I am the one who told them, you make the masks. I don't want Oaxaca. Of Africa, wako wada Oaxaca. Oaxaca. To buy, when Oaxaca is a Bantu word for when you don't have food in your house, you go to buy from others. These masks are going to be made here. All the PP protection things of when you see those people putting on as if they are going to the moon, those doctors when they are treating these cases, all that is going to be made here. By what? By machines imported, machinery. You import the machinery so that you make the things here. Machinery does not come by post office box, by email or anything like that. It comes by cargo, by these lorries. The raw materials, some of the raw materials, like plastics. Plastics, we are not yet making plastics. The things which Mrwana and the others use to make plastics, PVC, it is being imported. We shall make it once our oil comes, but we are not making it yet. Our defense weapons, emundu zaffe. You cannot tell me that I live our guns. Our medical products, amadagara, aganawonya abantu baffe. That is the part of the, of course there is also petrol. Petrol is also part of that. Although for petrol now, we are beginning to use the water. We're beginning to use the water to use Kisumu to Port Bell. So it will not be, the ships are better because you don't have too many people. So those are coming from outside to strengthen us generally and also help us fight this virus better. Therefore, it is a wrong strategy to block cargo, and besides, it is not necessary. Why? We can, as you have seen, be able to identify the sick from the healthy because they come nitubakebera. So, umurwadde nitumuvumbura. The only problem that we are going to eliminate now has been the delay in the testing. The method of allowing drivers to enter and then get the results later will be stopped. After I stopped it the other 2 days ago. Oh, the people here are clapping that they are very happy. The small group here. This was, we had done this. We had said, okay, you give your sample and drive. When the sample is run and we found where, we shall call you from wherever you are. And of course we also told them, don't stop anywhere. Tokwata kumuna Uganda, takwata ko. We told them. Don't interact with anybody. Just drive and stop only to help yourself and continue. But you know, some of the people don't listen. So, even that would have worked really. to say you drive, only stop in some few places, it would have worked, but people don't observe, don't listen. And this was in order to minimize costs for the transporters, because when the vehicles stay there for long, I think they spend more money at the border, but also to remove the congestion. That was the idea. Of course, these costs, in the end, are passed on to the public and to the manufacturers. Since, however, the drivers and their employers seem not to be bothered with the concerns of the public and with our own concerns, we the leaders, we shall now not allow any lorry driver to enter Uganda or to leave the border area until the results have been received. There is a quick test known as the Gene Expert that takes only 1 hour for 32 tests. However, since we only have limited quantities of the cartridges that are needed for these machines to test for COVID-19, we are concentrating them at Mutukura because there is less traffic there. Once we get more of these cartridges are the chemicals you put in. The machines we have enough machines, but you need some chemicals to put them in to do the testing. It is that one that is not enough. These people, they kusakad, you know that kusaka? They kusakad 15,000 units, but 15,000 units at Maraba, they will take only 5 days. So that's why they put them at Mutukura, where the vehicles are less. Once we get more of these cartridges, we can quickly deploy more gene experts to other border points. Malaba already has 2 gene expert machines deployed but waiting for cartridges in order to start the testing. Once we get more of these, we can quickly test everywhere. The other alternative is His Excellency Kenyatta's plan of joint regional health teams of Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Congo, Burundi, testing these drivers at their respective points of origin 2 times a month so that they do not have to stop at the border. The new policy, this one of not allowing the drivers to enter, has already seen 14 Tanzanians, 16 Kenyans, one Munyarwanda, 1 Murundi, and 3 Eritreans drivers being turned back yesterday at the different border points. However, 21 were Ugandan drivers who were taken to hospital. But if we had added these other Africans, the number would have been very big. It would have been almost 60 yesterday. The medium-term better solution is to shift most of the cargo from the lorries to the railway, at least within the original East African Community countries of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. These have railway networks that could be revamped. Congo, South Sudan, Rwanda and Burundi will have to continue with the lorries for now because there is no railway line linking with them with East Africa. But with better solutions for the truck drivers mentioned above. The additional plan for the lorries is to have a convoy system escorted from entry to exit or to termination point if the cargo is destined to Uganda. In the meantime, however, all the drivers would stay at the border until they get their results. So that's the second enemy route. The third enemy route are the porous borders. The porous borders with our neighboring countries where people just walk on foot and come from neighboring countries and enter Uganda. That one, however, is managed by our RC system. If they are encouraged and the RDCs keep in close contact with them, they can block that third route. Because as you hear, the two Burundi, they went through the land border. The students from Tanzania went through the land border. So these cases, you can trace those which came in by the borders. But the LOCs were able to get hold of them. Our strategy in this war is to avoid the sickness and survive as a country that can still function in normal ways of a semi-modern or even more modern country. It is not to avoid sickness and collapse. We cannot say, what for fe, ate no kulemwa tulemwe. We don't use that slogan. You can say, obaba mumufe wafa, naye tulina okuwangula. This is our way this is the NRM way. Some of us may die, but we must win. You cannot say, oba fena tufa tufe, ate n'okulemwa tulemwe. That all of us die and also fail. That one is... It is sacrifice leading to victory. So in the plan, whatever plan you are doing, you must have the two elements. Sacrifice, but sacrifice leading to victory, not to failure. And without handling the issue of cargo, you will fail. You will fail. And you may avoid death for a short time, then it will come back. Because you will not have the means to continue. That would be suicide. What I was saying, about Fatfe, ate n'okulemwa tulemwe, that will be suicide. We have lost $1.6 billion from tourism. That money is not going to come. We may lose $1.3 billion from the remittances of the Ugandans living abroad. We cannot lose forex from our coffee also, and from our tea, and from our maize, and from our milk products, and from our cement, and from our mtayimbwa, our ceramic tiles, our soap and cooking oil export, etc., etc. In addition to failing to bring in raw materials, machinery, medicines, etc. That is simply a wrong debate. The debate should not be on whether the cargo drivers should enter and exit or not. It should be on how these drivers should be handled. That's what it should be. It is not on the whether, it is on the how. Apart from identifying the three main enemy entry points, the returnees, the railway drivers, and the porous borders, we are prepared. So in these two months, we have identified the enemy entry points. This is one of the achievements. But apart from that, we are more prepared because we have prepared the treatment centers in the following towns: Naguru, Arua, Gulu, Lira, Soroti, Moroto, Mbare, Jinja, Entebbe, Masaka, Hoima, Mbarara, Kabare, Fort Portal, and Mbende hospitals. Apart from Naguru, Soroti, Moroto, and Mbende, all the other hospitals have so far managed and discharged or are still managing a number of cases. So many of these hospitals are now veterans. They are now veterans of Corona. And sometimes I talk to those young doctors, they are really very proud. Sometimes I ring them and talk to them. Very, very proud. And when the disease is defeated, we shall give them medals. They're really very proud. Because they are among the best in the whole world. I don't know why you people, you never read the Bible very well. I see people carrying Bibles, but I don't know how they read them. Because the Bible says we shall know them by their fruits. It doesn't say that we shall know them by how they talk and how they dress. It says we shall know them by their fruits. Tunabategerera ku bibala byabwe, ibikolwa byabwe, ibibala is actions. So these Ugandan doctors have proven by action, not by talking, not by boasting, not by omulimo. So many of these hospitals are now veterans. Ate basanyufu nnyo because they are now confident. That is why we have not lost anybody yet, and 63 people have been healed. The total beds in all these hospitals are 3,200. Because I heard some people were worried about this. But we have a total of 3,200 beds. And each of the 16 hospitals will soon have a fully equipped ICU ward. ICU is in intensive care unit. Because somebody is bad off, so they put him. Procurement is ongoing to equip these hospitals with ICU, with the intensive care unit. However, currently, on top of Mulago and the Women Hospital, the other hospitals with ICU units are Kabale, Barara, Hoima, Jinja, and the others will get soon. We have 102 working ventilators at Mulago. I heard some people asking about ventilators because they see them on TV. Yes, that equipment is here. We have 102 working ventilators at Mulago, 35 at the regional hospitals, and we are buying 145 by June this year. Each regional referral hospital will have at least 10 ventilators. Although our doctors have told me that waiting for patients to progress to the ventilators is not a good idea. Moreover, the ventilators themselves can leave some damage on the patient, and many people on them sometimes don't recover. Our doctor's strategy has been to intervene early and not allow patients to progress to the point of needing ventilators. That is our strategy, preemptive. You preempt the progression of the disease before it reaches a dangerous stage. This capacity is a good nucleus that can be scaled up by building tents in open spaces, converting stadiums, etc., if bigger numbers require attention. So I can assure you that if bigger numbers require attention, apart from these 3,200 beds, we can put hospitals in the big tents in spaces which are not built up. Besides being more prepared on the medical side, our industries are getting more prepared to produce masks of all types, sanitizers, personal protective equipment, and diagnostic testing kits and sanitizers and even medicine. So our people are preparing to, or they have already started work in all those fields. In the meantime, it is important to again remind ourselves of the basics concerning these diseases, epidemics or otherwise, past or present. In the case of many of these diseases, the way forward is simple. Stop by vaccination. Or stop by treatment. If the disease is there, either you vaccinate, or you treat, or you avoid. You avoid. We are working on the vaccine, and so are other people in the world. On the side of treatment, there are two parts. Diagnosis using the different diagnostics, using the PCR, that looks for the core particles of the virus, using the antigen test, antigen antibody test, that looks for the envelope parts of the virus, and the IgM, IgG antibody test, that looks for the body soldiers called IgM, which come in to defend. And then another category of soldiers called IgG that come in to hold ground. We call it in the army. Once you capture, once you liberate, then you stay there, you don't go. So the IgG soldiers, they hold ground. While the other ones, the IgM, do the repulsing of the enemy attack. Our scientists, supported by the government, are working on all these efforts. What I do not want to hear of is the perpetual dependence of Ugandans on others. That must end. After the diagnosis, then, you get the treatment, which involves three efforts. Treating the core morbidities, that is the other diseases. Core morbidity. Morbidity means being sick. The core morbidities are the companions of corona, comorbidity. Corona feels lonely and it wants company. It does well when it is company. And the company, diabetes, blood pressure, cancer, this other one, sukari, AIDS, even pregnancy, I hear, even pregnancy, you're just having babies. I think even sickle cells would be, don't you, what do you say about sickle cells? It's not a problem? It's not a big one? So, when the sick people come, our people start with the core morbidities, the other diseases which the patients have, cancer, then boosting the immune system of the patient so that it fights better, e.g. vitamin C and zinc. These are from fruits. Vitamin C, zinc. I'm told zinc is good in repairing the body parts that have been damaged by the war inside the body. Our scientists are again working on all this. We have covered the 2/3 of this effort, treating the comorbidities and boosting the immunity of the patient. That is why patients have recovered and we have not registered any COVID-19 virus-related death. Our scientists are also working on the remaining one-third, the ability to kill the virus using dedicated medicines. The use of plasma from the recovered patients. The recovered patients should provide the plasma because it can help in fighting the disease. Because these people are people who got sick, they were treated and defeated it. So that means their body has some anti-COVID capacity. Right from the beginning, the quickest method we used to fight the disease was prevention by avoiding okwewala obulwadde, okwetantala endwala. In Luo, we call it gengo. Gengo in Luo means okwewala. Rugbara is called atrita. And Ateso Akaramojong, it is Aichokina. So when we say avoid how? You avoid as follows. Do not get near anybody coughing or sneezing. Do not shake hands or hug. Do not touch your mouth, your nose, or your eyes with unwashed hands. Do not get near regularly sanitize all the surfaces that are touched by many people, such as tribal tops, door handles, chairs, armrests, microphones, etc. Wash your hands with soap and water or use sanitizers regularly. 6, after observation, the scientists have found out that even if you do not cough or you do not sneeze, but merely talking like I'm talking now, or simply breathing, if people are near you, fortunately these are the 4 meters, are near you, you can infect them if you are sick and they are not sick. That is how the extra mechanism of using the face masks of kokoro comes in as a crucial instrument in stopping the spread of the virus. The masks are 3 types. The N95, which is for the people working in the intensive care units, the surgical mask, and the ordinary mask. The N95 and the surgical masks are good for the use by the doctors because you use them only once and throw them away. Although somebody told me that they can be disinfected in some cases. It is the ordinary masks that are more useful because they are double folded cloth with a soft tissue in the middle or a polypropylene sheet. Every day you can remove the tissue or the polypropylene sheet, wash the mask and iron it with a hot flat iron. The viruses will die. This mask must be worn all the time you are in public and must cover the mouth and the nose, whether you are sneezing, coughing, talking, or just breathing normally. So that's why I had to apologize when I had to remove to remove the mask. Since many people were expressing concern that they cannot afford to buy these masks, and also the government wanted to ensure quality and to ensure that people don't start borrowing masks from one another, the government has decided to provide these masks free of charge to all Ugandans of 6 years and above. We shall provide these masks. The proper masks, not these bukoyi which I see people putting on. The children of less than 6 years cannot safely wear these masks. Moreover, their lungs may not cope with them. These masks, like the mosquito nets, will be distributed through the LC system up to the district, from the district to the sub-county, from the sub-county to the village. We shall provide one mask per person of 6 years and above. There must be one all the time when you are in public. So, this is a new point of emphasis. Compulsory wearing of masks in public. Then number 7, keeping social distance of at least 4 meters in public. Tonsemberera. 8, good nutrition, including eating foods like fruits, oranges, mangoes, lemons, bananas, vegetables such as carrots, ginger, garlic, proteins, meat, fish, beans, nuts, etc. I normally remind everybody that we, the Africans, are the original human beings that have been here for the last 4.5 million years. The first vaccine against smallpox, what they call Omze or Kawari in Uganda, was discovered by Edward Jenner in the year 1796. You can imagine from 4 million years ago up to recently when this man discovered the vaccine, we had no vaccine against smallpox. The last epidemic of smallpox in Uganda before colonialism was in 1893. My great-grandmother, Nyinan Twende, as well as my grandfathers were alive that time. The only solutions the people had against the epidemic were avoiding okwewara, okwetantara, by not going where the outbreak was reported. But they also had strong immunity to defeat the disease. Some of my great-grandparents and grandparents defeated the smallpox. I myself defeated the smallpox in 1963. The school had to close. Although the vaccine was long available by that time, nobody had bothered to immunize us. During many centuries, many diseases were simply avoided by human precautions. Disease like yours, ebinyoro, syphilis, ebihoya, leprosy, ebibembe, ebigenge, were controlled by avoiding okwewala, okwetantala, and distancing, tonsemberera. In the Bible, in the book of Luke chapter 17, verse 11 to 19, you remember the story of the 10 lepers. It says in quotes, "Now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance." In the Bible. This was written by Ruka, not me. I just quoted it. So these lepers stood at a distance. This is how the disease were being avoided. And called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all the 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." The crucial word is here, what I'm looking for. There are very many good words here. But the ones I'm looking for, in this case, were, in quotes, they stood at a distance. Tonsemberera. This was 2,000 years ago. That is how people were managing this sickness. This is science. It's not. People think science is only medicine and drugs and injecting and what have you. No. You study the characteristics of the disease, and then you see how to avoid it. That is science. Therefore, of the 3 methods of dealing with the disease, vaccination and treatment are very recent in the long history of man and livestock. The oldest method of confronting disease is prevention by avoiding and strengthening the immune system by good nutrition. As we look for the vaccine and better treatment methods, we should not forget that. Hence, moving forward from the 20th of May, tomorrow, 2020, given the knowledge we now have and the capabilities we have, as well as the limitations we still continue to have, we shall move as follows. In addition to the measures I announced on the 4th of May 2020, I now add the following measures in easing the lockdown. However, for these measures which I'm going to talk about here, of easing the lockdown to take place, we must solve the issue of the masks, because we are not going to encourage anybody to go in public without a mask. And I'll talk about those masks later. So once the issue of the masks has been addressed, the shops selling general merchandise will open provided they are not in the shopping malls, they are not in the shopping arcades or food markets. We cannot allow the opening of these because it is impossible to observe the social distancing in these shopping malls or arcades. That is why they should remain closed for now. As for the markets, we should not allow the mixing of the selling of food and non-food items again until we get a vaccine or a clear treatment for this virus. You have seen how separating food selling from the non-food operations has helped us to go through the bad phase of this crisis. We should maintain this. The non-arcade, non-shopping mall shops that will open must always observe the rules of social distancing at all the time. Do not allow in many shoppers at the same time. Let them line outside, keeping the 4 meters distance, and come in the shop one by one. Secondly, the heroic market women that have slept in the workplace for all these days will be allowed to go home and come back to work daily if they want to. Now, we shall allow the regulated opening of public transport means of minibuses, buses, taxis, provided they carry only a half of their normal capacity. A half of their normal capacity. We hope this can enable public transport travel, again without the usual overcrowding, which is very dangerous during such times as these. Remember that with the danger of this epidemic, the safest modes of transport are bicycling, using a pikipiki if you are not carrying a passenger, walking, or if you have a private car. Especially the bicycles, they are good for health and also good for the environment. However, this opening of public transport will not be allowed in the border districts of Uganda. The districts which border with the South Sudan, with Congo, with Rwanda, with Tanzania, with Kenya, they will not be allowed to use this public transport for now, for another 21 days. Tomorrow the Prime Minister will publish the list of these districts, border districts. They are known, you know them, but just for the record, the Prime Minister will announce them. So therefore, this public transport we are saying should resume after you get the masks, because you must wait for the masks. And the masks will take 2 weeks to be ready. And 2 weeks will be on the, tomorrow is 19th. 2 weeks, 14 will be like 14 days. 2nd June. 2nd June. So we would like to open for the districts inside the country, to open public transport. The means I have mentioned, the minibus, the bus, the taxi, as long as you carry 50%, but this is when everybody is putting on the right masks. This is when everybody is putting on the right masks. And this is in the districts that are not on the border. The people at the border, Tumunyiga, nimwekuba ensingo bakyogera batya? Nimukiika ensingo, thinking that we have forgotten you. No, but we know the challenges from the neighboring countries. We don't want to really open for this dangerous situation to get out of hand. Because many of the people walk through the border. Now, if the public means the border, somebody can see, can jump on the bus, and in no time he's in Kampala. And if he has come with a problem, it will be all over the country. So that's why we are saying two things. First of all, the public transport which is allowed to open, we shall open when we are targeting on the 2nd of June, by which time we hope the masks will be distributed. They are being produced. The masks are being produced. The quantities are there, but we want them to be distributed up to the village, so that when you go into public transport, you have a mask. To go into these communal get-togethers without a mask is suicide. And when the taxis reopen, I don't want you of brokers and all these noise makers in the park. Look for other quiet ways of how you run the market. Since it is impossible to space out the passenger and the border driver, or the passenger and the tuk-tuk driver, for now, the borders and the tuk-tuks will not be allowed to carry passengers. They should continue to carry cargo as they have been doing during the time of the lockdown. 5, bars, nightclubs, hair salons, since they cannot easily observe the rules of Tonsemberera or Tampika, social distancing, will not be allowed to open for another 21 days. And these also include gyms, saunas, swimming pools, etc. I was surprised to see people going to the gym that they are exercising. You are going to pick diseases. You go to the gym when there is no problem, but when there is a problem, you should not go to those communal places. The international borders of Uganda and the airport will remain closed so that we do not import additional cases from outside. So therefore, with the opening of public transport, these shops, the ones I talked about, all of them are tied to the issue of the masks. Everybody put on a mask. But because of the logistics, the masks will not be distributed sufficiently until about the 2nd of June, when they are properly deployed. But I don't know whether Nigeria is producing enough already. The task force will be in touch with them, and we don't want the issue of partial supply, giving some and not others, because that one will not solve our problem. It is important that everybody gets, all the adults, so that we all have equal protection. Number 7, with education, the only possible safe action we can do now is to open for the end of educational phases candidates classes. These are the P7s, the S4s, the S6s, the undergraduate finalists, the tertiary college finalists, and the postgraduate finalists. There will be no first-term examinations in the schools. The schools should use all the time to prepare for the end of year final examinations. By opening for only the candidate classes, there will be enough space in the educational premises to avoid overcrowding and observe the social distancing of 4 meters from person to person. And yet, the concerned learners will not miss that crucial stage in their educational journey. The rest of the learners should be patient. It is better to stay alive than to lose one's life in hasty actions in dangerous times like these ones. Now, this will need about 2 weeks for the Ministry of Education to plan properly how these people can come. And since many of them would use public transport, that's why also they should go together. By that time, public transport also should be getting ready with the masks. Of course, the vehicles are there. The vehicles are not a problem. The buses are there. But what is not well distributed now are the masks. And we don't want to go public without masks. Curfew from 1900 hours, saa moja ya usiku, until 6:30 hours, saa 12:30 za usiku, remains in place for another 21 days. Hotels, food restaurants, and food restaurants can open as long as the clients observe social distancing and there's no air conditioning which spreads the virus. That air conditioning is not good. It's not good at all. I never allow air conditioning, even when it is there, I switch it off, which is the one which spreads the virus. People with private cars will be allowed to drive as long as the car does not carry more than 3 people, including the driver. If we had enough time and space, it may be better to restructure transport in the towns so as to emphasize bicycles, buses, trains, in addition to private cars. When there is a health crisis like this one, these means are safer than the others with proper regulation. The KCCA and the Ministry of Transport should study how this can be done. We should have lanes for vehicles and pikipikis, lanes for bicycles, and lanes for pedestrians, and there should be no mixing of the 3. The phenomenon of pikipikis driving on sidewalks meant for pedestrians will no longer be allowed. Again, this one also, we need to put on masks. Everything here is tied on the masks, and the right type of mask, not just the improvisations. All the other restrictions will remain in place for 21 days so that we see how these work. With these measures, it means that the three major sectors of the economy and society will now be fully operational. These are agriculture, that was never touched even in the lockdown time, industry, meaning manufacturing and ICT, business process outsourcing, and innovation hubs. The services sector, such as transport, hotels, banks, will be the only sector that is only partially operational. Some of the elements of the services sector will continue to be shut down, e.g. tourism, because of the ban of international travel. With our primate tourist destinations like Bwindi for the mountain gorillas and Chibale Forest Reserve for the chimpanzees cannot be opened because we do not want the virus to spread to our relatives, the chimpanzees. So therefore, we are going to move to open up. But opening up is tied to the masks. And the masks will be ready in 2 weeks from tomorrow. So therefore, whatever we are planning to do to open up the wananchi, make sure that it is all tied to the masks. Why? Because we believe that with the mask, you don't infect others, and you also don't get infected. Especially when you combine it with the other measures, social distancing, what have you, all those, washing. It is not mask alone, it is masks and all the other measures. Then there is the issue of the Ugandans caught by the pandemic abroad. This issue should be approached with the usual seriousness of the NRM, not the contemptible but very dangerous cheap populism of some of the actors. During the dangerous times in Uganda's history, 1966 up to 1986, i.e. 20 years, a lot of Ugandans fled the country in search of safety. When the NRM restored the safety of personal property, point number 2 in our 10-point program, many stayed abroad voluntarily to earn livelihood for their families. And send money home. Indeed, they have been sending us US dollars 1.3 billion per annum back to Uganda, to their families. And this money which they were sending was greater than the $416 million from coffee per year, but lower than US dollars 1.6 billion from tourism. Tourism was already earning 1.6 billion. Of course, our home-based sectors such as agriculture, the innovations of scientists, and the manufacturing will earn much more than this if only the political class and the neo-colonial bureaucracy could either listen to our message or when they are forced to listen to our message. Either they listen voluntarily or we shall force them to listen. With the value addition, coffee should be earning US dollars 4 billion, not a mere 416 million per year. Nevertheless, for now, we have about 170,000 Ugandans in North America. Let me get the updated figures. So the ones in North America are 170,000, that is USA and Canada. Then in Europe there are 558,000, that is more than 500,000. 138,000 in the Middle East, 1.1 million in Southern Africa, 250 in Nigeria, these are few, 400 in Algeria, 2,500 in China. So the big numbers are in the US, Europe and Southern Africa. Now if all our people decided to come back in panic, without a vaccine and without a cheap, reliable and affordable diagnostic test, and without a dedicated treatment for the virus that can be deployed on mass scale, how would the country manage them? How would the base, Uganda, of that diaspora and the stayee populations be saved, manage this crisis? We have seen how much trouble the lorry drivers are giving us. Yet, the lorry drivers who come to and from Uganda in a month are not more than 100,000. When the crisis started, we concentrated on saving the base for the sake of the people inside and outside the country. Thanks to God, our steps have been rewarded by not having the coffins I have been watching on TVs in other countries. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and that one of Health are preparing a paper on how to handle this. I cannot accept the idea of cargo planes being used to transport passengers. This is different from passenger planes, e.g. Airbus, with some cargo space below. They are part of the banned international travel, except for emergency landings, humanitarian flights, UN flights, or flights by foreign countries trying to evacuate their nationals because they are few. Even the other African countries, except probably Nigeria, I doubt very much that they have the same numbers in the diaspora as Uganda. It is on account of our history of a lot of troubles. Of course, we can say that the evacuees should pay for the tickets or the special flights. The problem, however, is not just paying for the air travel. The main factor is the health consideration, the fear of the spread of the virus when we do not yet have a vaccine and when we cannot yet handle too large numbers for treatment, the way we have that have recovered. It is the large numbers without a vaccine and without treatment capacity for those large numbers. With malaria, we can treat large numbers at the same time. With corona, we cannot. Even quarantining. Can you quarantine 100,000 people in one area? With the 15 million learners, our solution was a dispersal. Fortunately, we had our 7 million.3 homesteads to disperse them to. And we acted in time when the virus had not spread. We dispersed the learners into the 7 million homes because we were reasonably sure that the learners would not infect their families and vice versa, because at that time the virus had not spread to the population. Are you sure of the health status of the 2 million Ugandans in the diaspora that live in such highly infected countries? These are the issues we need to study seriously and to engage, and not to engage in shallow propagandizing. The Minister of Foreign Affairs told me that after the people want to come back are just 2,500. Okay, if that is the case, that's a bit easier. But that should be checked and confirmed and brought to the cabinet to decide, so that we decide how to move. Favoritism and things like that to enter the equation. Ugandans abroad are equal. There's nobody who is more important than the other. To have a transparent policy of how we are going to rescue those people. These are the issues we need to study seriously and not engage in shallow propagandizing. The Ugandans in the diaspora are living in very highly infected countries. That is the issue that needs to be discussed rationally. Small numbers using special passenger and not cargo flights can be handled. The question is, which small groups and why? The paper of the Ministers of Health and Foreign Affairs, to which you should all contribute, will help us to get correct answers. I thank you all. Okay?
Nuni Baba TV obusoga bulaire otasubwa ku Baba TV.